Welcome to this JMC instructional video, Minnesota MCCC via EdFi state reporting. My name is Jake Vanskoy and I am here to lead you today through the ins and the outs of reporting MCCC to the state via EdFi. And we would encourage you to join us in one of our Q&A sessions. We're going to try to run a Q&A session every month through the summer here. To get you up to speed with everything you need to know MCCC related. Minnesota EdFi integration with JMC provides a smooth transfer of the most current and precise course and grading data from your school to the MDE. To complete the transfer, your school will need to prepare your data to meet the requirements of the state and then send your data via the EdFi integration. Reporting course and student information, college partnerships, and instructional minutes has never been more streamlined or accurate. We're going to start with preparing MCCC course data. This process begins with importing course data from the previous year. Transitioning your course data from one year to another becomes effortless using JMC's course data importing tools. Streamline the yearly scheduling procedure by retaining all course and section data from the prior school year, guaranteeing accurate course setup. The Import Course Data page enables you to refresh all course and section information, including Perkins codes for the present year, with a straightforward click of a button. Head to Schedules, Course, Import Course Data to import course and section data. Step 1, click the Preview Import button to view the course records that will or will not be updated with the Import Course Data function. Fun fact, JMC will only import course and section data for courses that have precisely matching course name and number to avoid importing incorrect data. Helpful tip, review the Preview Import Summary to identify courses that require manual updates to ensure all courses are prepared for state reporting. Step 2, click the Print Summary button to print or save a PDF of the potential course data updates. And Step 3, click the Cancel Summary button to return to the Import Course Data page. Step 4, click the Import button to import course data from the prior year into the current year. Fun fact, importing course data will not overwrite data manually entered into the current year to prevent you from losing valuable information. Step 5, click the Print Summary button to print or save a PDF of the summary report, or click the Cancel Summary button to return to the Import Course Data page. Fun fact, your course data is now imported from the prior year to the current year and can be reviewed by visiting Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data, and searching for a specific course in the Find field. Let's take a live look at importing course data from the prior year. This is a process that has to be done. Whether you have entered this information manually or you haven't touched anything, you will still need to do this. So we're going to go to Schedules, Schedules, Course, Import Course Data. Schedules, Course, Import Course Data. Just a few things on this page. If you're curious to see if anybody else has already performed this, there should be a red notification right at the top of the page letting you know when this function was last run. It shouldn't really hurt you to run this multiple times. You can run this as many times as you need to because any data that you've entered in the current year is not going to be overwritten. So the whole purpose behind this, and I'm going to just back out of this to show you what we're actually doing, is if we go to that Edit Course Data page, for each of your courses, you need state-specific information. This state-specific information is entered on the State-Specific Section tab, on the State-Specific Course tab, and on the MCCC tab. So what we're doing when we import course data is we're pulling information from last year, in this case 23-24, into the current year so you can avoid having to manually enter course codes or instructional minutes or things like that, stuff that typically doesn't change from one year to the next. If you reported MCCC in the prior year and you didn't make a bunch of changes to your schedule in the interim, your lift in the remaining steps is going to be much less just by importing the course data from the prior year. I, on the other hand, have made a lot of changes to my database, so I'm going to click this preview import, and I'm going to get a list of courses with no matching course name or number. So that's telling me right off the bat that, hey, you have some courses in here that you are going to have to manually enter some information for. If you're curious at all what this import does and what it does not do, read the text on the page. It's telling you this option will import course data from the prior year if the course name and number match precisely. So essentially what that means is if we had third grade math in 23-24 and it was course number 5, if the course number is still 5 and the name is third grade math, JMC is making the assumption that nothing has changed with that course in the current year. So course codes should remain, instructional minutes should remain the same. So we feel confident in pulling that data forward that you won't need to make any changes in the current school year. This option will also import course section data from the prior year if the course name and number and course section ID match precisely. So if you have the section IDs in there, they match precisely, it's going to pull data. This option will only import a value from the prior year if the value in the current year has not been set, meaning if you have gone in and made any manual changes in the current year, it's not going to overwrite that value. Therefore, this process would be safe to run more than once if you needed to. If you were unsure of anything, you could run this without having to worry that it's going to overwrite anything. All other differences between the current and prior year data will be noted in the summary if the preview or of the preview or import, but not imported. So it's letting you know when you run this the preview import, it's going to give you a summary of everything it's going to do. So here's the data that's going to be updated, and you can see the course records that are potentially updated as 0 because I've already run this a few weeks ago. So it's going to let me know the course records from the current year with no matching course in the prior year. I've got 6 courses, so I know I'm going to have to go in there and manually enter data for 6 courses. Even further, we list those courses that we would have to manually update right here by course number. So it might be handy to print this summary so you have this to go back to when you're actually editing the state-specific data for each course. It even lists the course sections with different values in the prior year that will not be imported. So you can review anything that was not imported from the prior year. So if we needed to go back and mess with any of those sections, we would see the specific sections that are there as well. So I'm going to cancel the summary, and then to proceed with the import, I'm going to click that import button. It's going to let me know again what I just did. I can print that summary, I can cancel it, and now it's letting me know, hey, this is now the most recent time that I've run this update. So this function has to be done before you're going to be able to advance to any of the other submissions. It's a relatively harmless procedure, but it's going to set your current data up for the current year, exactly where you left off the last year. Just another way JMC sets you up for success. So now we can get into editing some of those specific details, like teacher details. In JMC Office, seamlessly grant teachers access to JMC Teacher while keeping their data accurate across scheduling and grading reports. Quickly add new teachers or update existing staff details such as usernames, passwords, and email addresses to maintain accurate records amid staffing changes. With up-to-date teacher information, your team will have efficient access to essential JMC teacher tools. So I'm going to breeze through this section because at this stage in the game, many schools have probably already had all the staff updates that are needed for the current year. So you probably aren't adding new staff at this time. For next year, you might be adding new staff, but that would be in the upcoming building year. So I'm going to skip forward here to the process that's going to impact you the most in this, and that's going to be adding teacher file folder numbers. So everything that we've done up to this point is providing access, entering display names, entering usernames, and all that sort of stuff, changing passwords. In order to connect your teachers to the state, each teacher would need a file folder number. So this needs to be filled out before the state's going to recognize your teachers, and this could potentially lead to errors in your MCCC reporting if this has not been done correctly. So enter that file folder number, click the update button to save any of your changes, and you're ready to move on. You can print these details, you can transfer sections, but this is all done mostly in the scheduling process. So the big thing is that file folder number. Getting into editing room details, again, this is probably something that would be done during the scheduling process at the beginning of the year. We'll walk you through big picture what this means, and I'll show you the fields that would need to be done to complete the MCCC reporting. So setting up the classrooms you intend to use for the instruction is a snap in JMC Office. Enter the room name or number and provide capacity limit details, and then you're on your way to effectively managing your spaces and avoiding the trouble of double booking a room. Pave the way for fully utilizing scheduling tools like constraints, the scheduling aid, and the room utilization report by editing classrooms in JMC Office. So once again, you don't necessarily need to worry too much about this. Most likely this is done in the scheduling process, but the big thing that you'll need to worry about is the site number. So if your school, and I'll show you where to find your building number, your state reportable building number. Each room in your school should have a site number associated with it. And if you have multiple site numbers for your school, if you have classrooms that exist in, say, a different site number, you would just want to make sure that those rooms match the site number that they're supposed to be in. So you click the edit link. You can update those room details, including the room name and the site number. Room capacity, the socially distanced capacity and the room capacity, that's mainly for scheduling purposes. Really what you're worried about is updating that site number as needed. Step 5, you can click the update link to save any of your changes, click the cancel link to discard them, and then print or export your room list to a CSV file. So let's take a live look at editing teacher and room details in JMC Office. I'm going to click the home button to orient myself back to my home page here. I'm going to go to attendance, staff. I'm going to start with teachers, because that was the first one that we talked about there. Again, the key to this page is to make sure that each teacher has a file folder number listed. If the teacher does not have a file folder number listed, or if the file folder number is incorrect, you can come in here and change it. Just make sure you click the update button, and you'll notice that the color of the teacher background will change after you've saved your changes. So change this here. Room numbers are the same. I'm going to click the edit link. If I need to update a room number, I can change the room number, the site number, the room name rather, and click update. And if you're looking for your building's number, this information can be found under Minnesota Mars edit school data. So we've got Minnesota Mars edit school data. And here are a list of your grade levels, and the school number associated with each of those grade levels will be listed here. This is a state assigned number. And again, the only time that this would really probably impact you is if you have multiple sites within one JMC building. MCCC reporting is done on a building level. It's not done on a district level. So if you needed to update any of your course numbers, your room numbers with a school number, you would do so on the attendance staff rooms page. So as you see, all of mine match that 109. Now we'll get on to associating MDE recognized grade values. No matter your school's grading scale, A through F, 1 through 4, or pass-fail, you can easily align it with state-recognized grade values in JMC. On the Edit Grade Values page, simply add a state-defined grade value to your existing grades, and JMC will automatically include this in EdFi reporting when assigned to a student's course grade. Seamlessly integrate state-recognized grade values into your school's grading and EdFi processes for hassle-free state reporting. In JMC Office, head to Grading, Utilities, Edit Grade Values to associate Minnesota recognized course grade values to the grade values used by your school. Step 1, click the Edit link next to a grade name on your list to edit the grade's attributes. Step 2, select the appropriate grade value from the state reporting grade drop-down list to associate an equivalent state reporting grade with the grade value used by your school. Helpful tip, consult the Minnesota Department of Ed if you are unsure of which state reporting grade to associate with your school's course grade option. Step 3, click the Update link to save your changes or click the Cancel link to discard them. Step 4, repeat steps 1 through 3 for all grade values used by your school to complete the process. So let's take a live look at editing grade values for MCCC reporting. So those of you who are familiar with our last instructional video, we did not actually cover this process, so this might be slightly new to you. We're going to be under Grading, Utilities, Edit Grade Values, Grading, Utilities, Edit Grade Values. And essentially what we're saying here is every school is a little bit different in how they report student progress. If you use a standard-based report card, for example, many of you know that you still need to report courses and course grades for your students. You know, some of you might want to take it down another level of granularity and report the actual standards. But even if you report standards, you still need to report your course grades to the state. So the state has a list of grades that they require for K-8, for example, and then 9 through 12 for subject areas that they would expect to see grades for. And I think mostly what the state's worried about is pass-fail. But no matter what scale you use, you know, I call this the traditional letter grade scale, A through F with an incomplete. The state also has a list of state recognized reporting grades. The A through F scale is included in there, but some schools choose to use other letter designations or maybe symbol combos. So E, E plus, S's, N's, U's. These are all things that I've seen 4, 3, 2, 1 quite frequently. But basically what you would do is next to each value, you would click the edit link. You would go over here to the state reporting grade. And if I pull up this drop-down list, everything that the state recognizes as a grade is listed right here. So in JMC, just to make myself clear here, in JMC, you can use whatever designation you want to convey student proficiencies to students and to families. So if your school uses D's, great. The state just wants to know what's that the equivalent to in our eyes or in the state's eyes. So you'll select the state level equivalency, click D, click update, and I would do this process for each of my grades. So D+, does the state recognize a D+? Yes, they do. Click update. If you use a grade scale, so like E, for example, I don't know that the state has an E. So I look through this list and we've got a 0 through 4, an A through D- or an F actually, and then we have an I incomplete, pass, no credit earned with a pass, withdrawn fail, and a withdrawn pass. So it would be up to me with the direction of the state to determine, well, what does that E mean as far as my school's concerned, and how does that correlate with the state? So if an E is the equivalent of a 4 or an outstanding, you could select that value. We'll click update, and that's what that E is going to be known as in the state's eyes. So if you have any questions as to how your grades, your identified grades, translate over to the states, please reach out to the Minnesota Department of Ed. Karen Millette will be able to point you in the right direction on that. Now that we have prepared our course data, we're going to get into working with courses in JMC Office. Start by viewing course information. We're going to do so with the course data list. So need a handy list of the courses you have entered in JMC. Log into JMC Office and run a course data list highlighting course schedule information, course grading information, course teacher information, and more. Review current courses to make sure your course catalog is up to date for the upcoming scheduling season, or for more detailed perusal, export the data to review later. So for those of you that are experienced with scheduling in JMC, you probably use the course data list a lot. The course data list is a really handy option also for reviewing state reporting information. We're going to show you specifically where you're going to want to go on this course data list to view all of that state reporting information. So in JMC Office, we're going to go to Schedules, Course Data List, and we're going to select a radio button next to one of the following options to include the corresponding information on your course data list. The course name and number, that's just going to give you a general list of the names and numbers for your courses. But really what you're looking for is the course name, number and name expanded. It's that second radio button right there. So if you've printed off your summary from the import, the course data import, you can compare it to the course name and number expanded, and this is going to show you the courses that have course codes, bell schedule information, college course codes, delivery method, and additional course information that's going to be used in MCCC reporting. We show you this slide first, not necessarily because it's the first step that you would have to do, but it's a very important tool for you to use while you're going back and forth with your submissions and your course data, just to make sure everything is correct. So, place a check mark. Step 2, place a check mark in the only include courses with students enrolled checkbox to view only the courses with students currently enrolled. And that's really only what's going to be sent to the state, is if you've got students enrolled in courses, then those are the courses that you're going to specifically have to worry about. Step 3, select the course number or course name radio button in the sort by box to sort the report. You can also sort this in ascending or descending order. Step 5, you click the preview button to view the course data list, and then you can print or export your report to a CSV file. So let's take a live look at viewing course information. Those of you that are familiar with scheduling in JMC probably use this report quite a bit. It's a very handy report to see all of the courses in your database. We're going to go to Schedules, Course Data List. And again, I'm going to choose the course name and number expanded, or number and name expanded. And I'm going to click Preview here. And as I mentioned before, it's going to show me the course name, the course number. It's going to show me a bell schedule, and we're going to get into this in here just a little bit. It's going to show me the teacher. It's going to show me the course code and any alternate ID that's being used for this course. It's going to show me the college course code, if there is one, college credit, instructional delivery mode, instructional language, instructional minutes per term. These are all things that are going to get shared with the state. Potentially, these are errors that could pop up if you don't have a value listed, which is really where this report is handy. So if you're getting, first, if you want to take a look at, do I have all state course codes listed? If I just pull up this list, I can see, well, I know I'm going to get an error on third grade ELA. So I know that I would have to go to course 4 and I would have to add a state course code. So this might be a handy report to run even before you begin submitting information, just to know whether or not you have everything up to date. So now that you know where everything ends up on that list, let's take a look at adding MCCC course data elements to that edit course data page. So MCCC mandates the reporting of early education subjects. These are the subjects that I was referring to earlier when I said, hey, the state's going to ask for course grades for certain courses. So school readiness and early childhood family education is what they expect to see out of early education. K-8 subjects such as math, language arts, math, etc. I think I said math twice. English language arts, math, etc. And all 9-12 subjects to ensure accurate funding for your school district. Utilize the Edit Course Data page as a convenient platform to assign course codes and attributes, ensuring all relevant course information is accurately shared with the state during the MCCC reporting. In JMC Office, we're going to head to Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data to view and edit all state-specific course attributes for state reporting. Step 1, we'll select the course to be edited by entering their name in the Find field. Step 2, we'll click the State-Specific Section tab to view section attributes that will be reported to the state. Step 3, click the Edit link next to the appropriate section to edit the section attributes that will be reported to the state. So everything on this line right here will be reported to the state, including instructional method, delivery mode, mark indicator, that's indicating whether or not you have a grade associated with this course, whether the course was listed virtually, if this is part of a fixed period, and the number of instructional minutes. So each of these things, the instructional method, like I said, is the method through which students will be receiving instruction. The delivery mode indicates whether the course is taught in person, online, or as a hybrid of the two. The mark indicator defines the course section as reporting a course grade to the state. So if it's true, if it's marked true, that means you are reporting a grade for this course to the state. The virtual checkbox indicates whether the course will be meeting virtually or in person. The fixed period defines a course as meeting at a set time each day for calculating instructional minutes from the bell schedule. In most cases, this value will be true, especially if you are using that bell schedule like in a high school situation where the same course is intended to meet relatively at the same time every day. And we'll go more into instructional minutes here shortly. Instructional minutes are the total number of instructional minutes for the term. You can hand enter this value, or in a future section here, we're going to talk about how to populate this field quickly and easily in JMC. Instructional language is the code for the primary language used when providing instruction for the course section. Helpful tip, the import course data process from the prior year on that schedules course import course data page will automatically update all state reportable fields in JMC for the current year. So everything that you have from the previous year is going to be dumped into the current year after you've done that import course data, provided the course name and number match exactly. So this is what we were talking about in that import course data process. This is what saves you so much time. If you've done this previously and you haven't changed a whole lot of course information from one year to the next, you can just pull all that information forward, and this process should be a pretty light lift for you. If you have never reported MCCC via JMC, the first time that you do it, you might have some more work on the front end. Step 5, you'll click the update link to save your changes, or click cancel to discard them. And then we move on to the state-specific course tab. So step 6, click the state-specific course tab to edit state course code and star assignment codes for the selected course. Step 7, select the appropriate code from the state course code and star assignment code drop-down list to identify the course with the state. Fun fact, the MDE requires K-8 schools to include state course codes for ELA, math, science, social studies, arts, world languages, PE, and health courses. Helpful tip, consult the MDE with specific questions about which course codes to use for early education, K-8, and 9-12 subjects. Again, at JMC, we can tell you where you would enter those course codes, but we can't necessarily tell you what course codes you should enter. So if you have questions about that, what course codes go with which courses, consult the MDE. They can help you out. Consult their course catalog that's available on their website, and you should be able to match up that information. Step 8, we'll click the MCCC tab to view and edit course-specific data attributes that will be reported to the state. Step 9, click the Save button to update course-specific data. Helpful tip, save time editing state-specific section and MCCC course attributes by using the Mass Assign Course Data feature on the Schedules Course Mass Assign Course Section Data page. And we're going to be talking quite a bit about this Schedules Course Mass Assign Course Section Data page here in just a moment. When I do the live look, I'll show you exactly what you can add here. But it's basically, I'll show you the slower way to do it, and I'll show you the streamlined way to do it through that Mass Assign Course Data. So let's take a live look at adding course information. So I'm going to go home in JMC, and I'm going to go to Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data, just to show you where this information would be. I'm going to select a course for my Find field. So I'm in Math, and actually I should probably go to one where I don't have any information. So let's go to Science. So Course 5, 3rd grade Science here. I already have the course scheduled. I have students in this, so this is something that comes after that. I'm going to click the State Specific Section tab, and you'll notice when I imported, some of this data came forward, so that's great. I might not have to touch any of this, but if I did, I can click the Edit link next to a section. I can update my instructional method, so since it's not specified, I'm going to want to change that to this is a regular classroom course. There are other options in here, so you just have to select the one that's appropriate for the course. The delivery mode, this is going to be on ground. Mark indicator saying that we're going to have a grade for this course. Is it virtual? No, it's not virtual. Does this meet at the same time every day? Yes, it does. I've got my total number of instructional minutes, my instructional language in there. Again, I can hand enter this, but I'll show you a much quicker way to get these minutes in there here in just a moment. Click Update to save my changes. Then I'm moving on to the State Specific Course tab. Some of these other tabs, you've got the sections, you've got the constraints, you've got the teachers and grading schemes. These are all typically handled during the scheduling process. So we're really only focused on the state-specific section, state-specific course, and the MCCC tab when we are worried about state reporting. So state course code, I'm just going to type in math here and see what it comes up with if I have an elementary math that I can use. This would be another one where I would need to consult that Minnesota Common Course catalog to see which math makes the most sense. So let's see if I can find one that looks about right. Here we go, Mathematics Grade 3. So I assign Mathematics Grade 3. Star code, but I'm going to leave star code. I'm not 100% sure what star code is, so you might need to check that out with the MDE. MCCC tab, there are a variety of scenarios, and we're going to go through a few of the more intricate scenarios here in just a minute. You've got early ed reporting that you would do a little bit differently. You've got college course reporting that you would do a little bit differently. But essentially you choose the record type. So scheduled student record, the course level. This is a basic course. Is this a grad requirement? Well, this isn't really a high school course, so this is not a grad requirement for me. Sequence limit. This is probably stuff that you don't really have to touch unless is noted in a special circumstance. The standard addressed, we're meeting state standards with our third grade science course. I click save, and that updates this information. These drop-down lists and fields might change depending on the option that you choose in this record type drop-down list, specifically when we get into college courses or dual concurrent enrollment courses or PSEO courses, which we'll talk about that in just a little bit here. But that's the gist of this. If you're thinking, you know what, I have 500 courses and this is going to take forever updating each of these tabs one at a time, one course at a time, don't worry. We have an easier way to get this information into all of your courses. We're under schedules, course, mass assign course section data. And the reason I wanted to show you the slow way first is so that this page makes sense. So what we're doing here is we are assigning attributes that would be listed on either of those tabs to all courses using these drop-down lists. And this is a really handy and easy page to work your way through. You just read what's going on here. So this first drop-down list, say fixed period indicator. Actually, I'm gonna do one that's probably very typical for everybody, the marking indicator. So this attribute is saying I'm going to be supplying a course grade for every one of my courses. And if I know this to be true for most of my courses, most of them I'm reporting a course grade on, I'm going to enter the value of true. So that's 1 for true, enter a 0 for false, 1 for true. I want to change them all to true. And for course sections in this building with students in grade levels, I can choose the courses that have a specific grade level scheduled into them, or I can choose all courses, which I'll probably do because let's say all courses are going to get a grade value. I assign that value with one click, and it's letting me know you have just updated course section records for all of these courses, marking the marking indicator as 1. So now if I go back to my edit course data page and I click any one of my courses here, so I'm going to pull up, let's see here. Let's go to social studies, third grade social studies. State specific, this mark indicator is set to true. I just did that on that state specific, on the mass assigned course section data page. So if I toggled through all of my classes, you're going to see that mark indicator is true. And I'm just going to go ahead and change it for you so you can see, like, all right, well, how is that impacted here? I go back and change the mark indicator to false for all grade levels. I assign that value, and I come back to my edit course data page. Now you can see that on that state specific section tab, that mark indicator is false, and I can just move from one course to the next and it's still false. Okay, so this is a much faster way to assign any one of these attributes on the state specific section or the MCCC tab. We have many of them available on the mass assigned course section data. We're going to get into bell schedules here in just a minute. But that marking indicator is a common one that you're probably going to have listed to true. So I'm going to assign that back to all grade levels. So a quick and handy way to assign those state reportable attributes to all of your courses. Then if I had some courses that I was not supplying a grade to, like let's say some study halls, I could go back and change those individually, but I've just saved myself hundreds of clicks by not having to go into each course and each section and change those. I can get the mass, the greatest amount all in one click and go back and change just the few that might not meet that criteria. So this section is going to be covering what I just explained to you. I got ahead of myself just a little bit, but EdFi is sure to save you plenty of time during state reporting. However, there are some setup steps to take care of to make sure your data flows smoothly. The Mass Assigned Course Section Data feature streamlines the process of assigning MCCC data elements to your courses so that you can avoid entering information into individual courses while we're preparing your data for EdFi reporting. Again, this is what I just showed in the live look. I just got ahead of myself a little bit. In JMC Office, we'll head to Schedules, Course, Mass Assigned Course Section Data. We'll select an MCCC data element from that first drop-down list to apply the changes to a specific field within JMC. Helpful tip, the mass assigned data elements to prepare you would mass assign data elements to prepare the majority of your identical courses, and then go to the edit course data page to manually change any outliers to increase your efficiency. Step 2, you'd enter the new data in the new value field or select the appropriate value from the new value drop-down list to define the new information that will be assigned to the selected MCCC data element. Helpful tip, if you're unsure of the value to enter, check out the on-screen prompt in bold to help you choose the proper selection. Step 3, select the students from the grade level drop-down list to apply the changes to all students or students in a specific grade level. Step 4, click the Assign Value to Course/Section Data element button to apply the mass assign changes to the appropriate fields on the Schedule Course Edit Course Data page. So let's take a live look at bulk loading MCCC data elements. I think I just showed you this. Again, we're on the Schedules, Course, Mass Assigned Course Section Data. If you missed that, or if you're jumping into this video right from this section, back it up and take a look at the assigning edit course data. I go into much more detail with this, but essentially you choose the data element, you choose the new value, pay attention to the bold, that's going to let you know what you need to enter there, and then select the students that you're applying this to in the third drop-down list or the third field there. Click that button and you've assigned your data element to all of the courses for that grade level. Now we're going to get into reporting instructional minutes with JMC. Recording the number of minutes a course meets throughout a year is an essential step for reporting instructional minutes via EdFi. JMC provides 2 simple options for adding instructional minutes to the state-specific section tab for each course. Once instructional minutes are established for your courses, they will be imported along with the rest of your course data to save you the hassle of entering this data each year. So a couple of things to note here. The first decision you have to make is whether or not your school utilizes a fixed or a variable schedule. Depending on the structure of your school's schedule, you have the option to calculate instructional minutes using a bell schedule or assigning instructional minutes to each course. And what I usually recommend to schools is if you are in a high school situation or a middle school situation often, you can calculate instructional minutes using that bell schedule. Elementary schedules are kind of all over the map, so it's much easier to assign instructional minutes than it is to try to calculate. So high schools, middle schools, pay attention to the calculating instructional minutes. Elementary, I'll show you how to quickly assign instructional minutes to each course in the second half of this. So let's get into calculating instructional minutes using bell schedules. Schools often run unique bell schedules for elementary, middle school, and high school courses, presenting a challenge for tracking instructional minutes. JMC makes it easy no matter which schedule your students are on by allowing you to create multiple bell schedules in JMC Office. Before editing period links and assigning the bell schedule to courses, simply add a name, edit an existing name, or delete an entry to define the bell schedule in your school. Head to Attendance, Bell Schedule, and Class Periods, edit bell schedules to define a bell schedule in JMC Office. So Attendance, Bell Schedules, and Class Periods, edit bell schedules. Step 1, click the Add Schedule button to define a new bell schedule. And step 2, enter a name in that bell schedule field to define the schedule. For example, high school schedule, to define a bell schedule for your high school. So even if you are entering bell schedule, or I'm sorry, even if you're entering instructional minutes manually, you'll still need to enter an elementary schedule name because you have to assign a bell schedule to each of your courses anyway. So elementaries, you'll still do this step. It's very quick, very painless. You click a button, you enter a name, and you click update. So step 3, click that update button to add the new schedule to the list, or click the cancel button to discard your changes. Helpful tip, click the edit button to rename an existing bell schedule, or click the delete button to remove a bell schedule from your list. Step 4, repeat steps 1 through 3 to add all bell schedules that exist within your building to your bell schedules list. So if your middle school runs a little bit different bell schedule than your high school, you might have a separate schedule for that. If the middle school and high school runs the exact same bell schedule, you can create one that is middle school, high school, or if you are manually assigning elementary schedules, you could probably just create one bell schedule for all 3 of your levels and just assign that bell schedule to each of your courses, and it'll work out, especially if you're entering minutes by hand. So we're going to show you that process in just a second here. Fun fact, bell schedules carry over from one year to the next, eliminating the need for creating a schedule from scratch every year. So if you did this last year, this step is probably a moot point for you. You probably won't have to do anything with this unless you had some massive changes to your school structure. Helpful tip, has your school experienced a major schedule change, such as moving from traditional to block scheduling? Simply create a new bell schedule and edit the periods accordingly. From there, once you've defined the bell schedule, we're going to define the class periods within a bell schedule. So once one or more bell schedules have been established in JMC Office, it's time to define each bell schedule by adding class periods and time frames for automatically calculating instructional minutes. Define the class periods that make up each of your school's bell schedules by adding a name, type, and time frame to precisely calculate the amount of time your students spend in class. Define class periods within a bell schedule in JMC Office by heading to Attendance, Bell Schedules and Class Periods, Edit Class Periods. Step 1, we'll select the schedule from the bell schedule drop-down list to edit the class periods within that bell schedule. So these are the bell schedules that you just created. Step 2, click that Add Class Period button to define class periods for the selected schedule. Step 3, select a number from the number drop-down list to define when the period will be offered during the school day. Step 4, enter a name in the name field to define the corresponding period. Step 5, select after school, during school, before school, during school lunch, or evening school from the type drop-down list to add a description to the period. Helpful tip, a period that happens outside of the regularly scheduled school day may be defined as period 0 using the before school designation from the type drop-down list. Step 6, enter the start time and end time for the selected period, or simply click the clock icon to define the time of day the period meets. Step 7, click the update button to save your changes to the class period, or click the cancel button to discard them. Helpful tip, click the edit button to update information in an existing class period, or click the delete button to remove it. Step 8, repeat steps 1 through 7 to define all class periods for each bell schedule in your school. Helpful tip, head to the Sections tab on the Schedules Course Edit Course Data page to associate a bell schedule with a course. Helpful tip, once your bell schedule and periods are defined and courses and sections are created, head to the Schedules Course Mass Assigned Course Section data to calculate instructional minutes. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute here. Fun fact, the instructional minutes field will automatically be populated with calculated instructional minutes after you have applied the calculation on the Mass Assigned Course Section data page. So let's take a live look at calculating instructional minutes from a bell schedule. So again, this is probably most likely used in a high school situation or a middle school situation that meets on a standard bell schedule that goes from periods 1 through period 9, with each period being 45 minutes in length. Aside from that fourth period or fifth period that meets during lunch, that, it's an hour-long period. So we're going to go to attendance, bell schedule and class periods, edit bell schedules. So I'm going to show you kind of backwards how this works and then how to apply the calculation. So if I go to schedules, schedules, course, edit course data, you can see on this section, I've got a bell schedule drop-down list on this section right here on the sections tab. So I can associate a bell schedule with each section of my courses. Well, what populates that drop-down list? That's what we're talking about over here on attendance, bell schedules and class periods, edit bell schedules. You'll see I have an elementary schedule, a high school schedule, and a middle school schedule already defined. This was something that I did last year, so there's really nothing that I would need to do this year. I still have a high school, middle school, and elementary schedule. Nothing new to define. As long as my schedule is accounted for right here, I can move on to editing the class periods. So these are the class periods that make up each of my bell schedules. So I'm on my high school schedule, for example. You can see I have period 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 defined. Period 1 meets from 8:10 to 8:55. Period 2 meets from 9:05 to 9:50. Period 3 meets from 9:55 to 10:40. And then I've got a little bit of a gap here, probably for lunch, 1:10 to 2. And it looks like period 5 is in lunch here. So I've got some things that I need to fix with this. So I'm going to add a class period. I just deleted those. Add a class period. This is going to be period 4. This is my period 4 class. And it is actually happening during school lunch. So my school lunch goes, or my fourth period goes from 10:50 to 11:50. Click update. And since this is during school lunch, it's already going to calculate 15 or 20 minutes, whatever the state recognizes as a lunch period. It's going to calculate that from that. So I don't necessarily need to do anything additionally to it. That's part of the calculation involved, as long as I have all of the periods defined. So period 5 in my 8 period day. This is going to be during school, and it's going to meet from, let's say, 12. We got an early lunch, I guess. 12 p.m. to 12:50. And you notice that I am excluding passing periods. So passing periods are not accounted for in this bell schedule. I'm just going the instructional time for each of these. So period 6 meets during the school day, and it goes from 1 to 1:50. And then period 7, the last period of the day. So we have a break in the middle of the day. But when we get back at it, we start at 2:10 and we go to 3 o'clock. Okay, so I've defined each of the periods for my school day. Now as a matter of doing my scheduling, So when I get in here and assign periods and assign, so I'm going to go to schedules, course, edit course data as a part of assigning my period to my day. So let's say this course meets fourth period. When I assign a schedule to it, that high school schedule, it knows, okay, the fourth period, it's during school lunch. It meets for an hour, but we subtract the 20 minutes or whatever it is for school lunch. That's going to use that to calculate my instructional minutes. So if I see a 1 next to instructional minutes, that's our default value there. So 1 is, if 1's showing up, I know I haven't calculated anything just yet. So once this is assigned here, or once I've created my bell schedule, I'm going to assign some data elements to my courses. So for example, I'm going to go to schedules, course, mass assign course section data. The first thing that I can do that would be helpful is mass assign a schedule to all of my courses. So I'm going to mass assign a bell schedule. Let's say it's the elementary schedule for all kindergarten courses. I assign that value, it's going to let me know. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing for first grade. Assign my elementary schedule for first grade, elementary schedule for second grade, and now all of my courses are going to have that elementary schedule attached to them. So I could go do it the slow way, again, on that edit course data page. I could go in here, I could edit, and I could select this, or I can mass assign the bell schedule. So everybody will have to do that, but where the calculation comes in is if I go back to mass assign, if I'm doing my calculated, so I can do instructional minutes per term calculated, and it's letting me know that this value calculates the value for all courses based on the bell schedule, which is the class period start and end time, and the calendar. So it's going to look at the term, the start dates and end dates of the term. It's going to look at the course section, so the number of days that the course meets according to the term, and it's going to look at the course, whether it's a block length. So if it's a 2-block, let's say you're on a modified block schedule, many high schools might have something like this, and it's much easier in a high school to calculate the periods as opposed to just entering them by hand. And in an elementary situation, you probably know that, over the course of a term, my ELA meets for 5,000 minutes. So it might just be easier to mass assign the 5,000 minutes to each course. But high school, since the schedules are a little bit more variable, might be easier to have JMC calculate that for us. So I'm going to calculate my instructional minutes for my 9th grade courses. So if I have any 9th grade students that are scheduled into a course, then if we're using that high school schedule, it's going to calculate according to the times and according to all of the stuff that's in bold right here. If there's been a value entered manually, I can decide to not change it, or I can overwrite that with the calculation. I assign the value, and it's going to tell me what it just calculated. So if I needed to double check, I could go back here to that edit course data page. I could check that state specific section tab, and I could see if my instructional minutes have been calculated. So the reason this isn't doing this for me is because I don't have students scheduled into this course. So I can show that in a quick demonstration here. So I'm going to change the course name, and let's call this English 1. I'm going to change the term type to a yearly semester course. Save. So this course meets for a full year in semester. Let's say we're on quarter grading scheme. Okay. So English 1, I just need to assign a student to this course now. Let's go to schedules, student, edit schedules. I'm going to grab a 9th grader. I'm going to give them English 1. So now I'll be able to calculate my bell schedule. So let's go to mass assigned course section data. So just to level set you here, if I go to my state specific section tab, my instructional minutes are set at 1, and that's the preset. I haven't done anything with it. If I go back to my sections tab, I have 1 term, and let's say I'm going to add a second term to this. It's going to meet during period 4. It's going to meet every day, and we're using the high school schedule. So I need to change that the schedule to the high school schedule. And now when I calculate instructional minutes, it's going to use all of those data elements that we've already defined. So I'm going to change this to instructional minutes per term calculated. It's going to use all of these data elements to calculate out. I just assigned a 9th grader to that course, and I'm going to overwrite any existing data, assign it. It's going to let me know that this has changed, and it's going to actually give me the calculation that it used. So what it's doing here is it updated this course, this section, and it actually changed that value to 5,640 because it took 94 days for that term that's in. It multiplied it by 60 minutes per period. So now if I go back to my edit course data page, my state specific section tab, you can see it calculated my instructional minutes. Now it didn't do it for SEM 2 because I don't have any students assigned to SEM 2. So I need to have a student assigned there. So if I had multiple courses with freshmen in it, it would have performed that same calculation for all of my freshman courses. It would do the same for all of your grade levels. I would advise this, for a high school, middle school situation where your periods kind of meet regularly. Elementary situations, it gets a little bit more murky, I would say, because you might not have social studies every day. You might be on like an every other day sort of thing. And as far as scheduling is concerned, you might just schedule the course so your teachers can do grades, but you don't want to go into the weeds with assigning all of these constraints to your courses. So your instructional minutes, if you were to ask Karen Millette about this, your instructional minutes are essentially your best guess, your most accurate guess based on what you anticipate students to take throughout the year. So I'll show you how to manually assign instructional minutes to courses. We could do it to each course individually, but there's an even faster way, and that's with the mass assign feature. So the mass assign feature will help you assign instructional minutes for most courses. There are some instances you might be able to go back and manually edit those instructional minutes for individual courses, but to manually edit instructional minutes, you'll simply decide the appropriate number of minutes a course will meet during the term and add them to a specific course in JMC Office. So we're going to head to Schedules Course, Edit Course Data. We'll enter that course name in the Find field. We'll select that state-specific section tab. We'll click the Edit link next to each section to edit the instructional minutes, and then we'll just hand enter the total number of minutes the course is scheduled to meet for the entire term. So if we have everybody gets 60 minutes of English language arts a day, we take that 60 minutes times the number of days that are in the semester. So if you have 90 days in the semester, 90 times 60 is 5,400. So we can manually enter 5,400 into this field. Click the update link, save our changes. Or even faster than that, we can go to Schedules, Course, Mass Assigned Course Section Data. We're going to choose Instructional Minutes per Term non-calculated, and we're just going to enter 5,400 into that field, and we're going to assign this to all third grade because I have third grade scheduled already. So 5,400, enter it to third grade, click this, and it let me know, all right, here are the courses that it updated. It just listed instructional minutes per term as 5,400. Now let's say, oh, that's true for ELA, math, science, but not social studies. Social studies, we only meet half that time. So I could go back to my edit course data. I could go find my third grade social studies course, click my state specific section tab. I've got instructional minutes 5,400 here. I can go in and I can say, nope, this is actually 3,000 or whatever it is. Click update. So again, the mass assigned course section data feature allows you to mass fill this course. And that's why for elementaries, it's so much easier just to go in and say, you know what, all of my courses meet every day. We would expect our ELA students to receive 5,400 minutes of instruction each term. You go in, you mass assign it to all of your third grade courses, and you're done. The high schools that do some more intricate scheduling, where they actually set the days that their courses meet as part of their constraints, as part of their day-to-day operations, they might choose to use that calculated option because they have all that data in there already. So we don't want to make this extra work for you. The idea is to make this as simple and easy as possible. So we've given you a couple different options for adding instructional minutes. On to a somewhat niche topic, working with college courses. We'll start with creating college courses. High schools offering college courses through articulation agreements, dual or concurrent enrollment, or PSEO can configure these courses in JMC to ensure accurate MCCC reporting data. By associating college course codes and names with a course in JMC, all relevant information is submitted to the state during the reporting process. To set up articulation agreement, dual concurrent enrollment, or PSEO college courses in JMC Office, head to Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data. Step 1, select the course to be edited by entering the name in the Find field. Step 2, enter the name of the college course in the Alternative Course Name field to submit college course data to MCCC if reporting via EdFi. So alternative course name is the name of the college course. The course name is the name that you name the course in JMC. Helpful tip, match the alternative course name field with the exact college course title to correctly list a college course in JMC. Step 3, navigate to the state-specific course tab and select the appropriate course code from the state course code drop-down list to associate it with the selected course. Step 4, navigate to the MCCC tab and select the appropriate student record type from the record type drop-down list to define the course as PSEO or part of an articulated agreement. Step 5, select articulation agreement, dual concurrent enrollment, or not applicable from the course level drop-down list to define your course, then fill out the appropriate fields highlighted below. An articulation agreement, select 1 from the record type drop-down list and A from the course level drop-down list. In a dual concurrent enrollment situation, select 1 from the record type drop-down list and D from the course level drop-down list. And for a PSEO course, select a 4 from the record type drop-down list and an X from the course level drop-down list. Step 6, an optional step, select an institution from the post-secondary institution drop-down list to identify the college or your school is partnering with if you are entering a PSEO course. So the remaining fields are dependent on which type of college course you've entered the record in the record type field there. Step 7, enter the course code assigned by the college in the college course code field to associate the JMC course with the college course code. Helpful tip, wondering what your college course code should look like? The college course code begins with the letters of the department offering the course, followed by the course numbers that are used to identify the course. For example, Math 151. Step 8, click the Save button to update your college course data. Let's take a live look at creating college courses. So again, these are for existing courses or courses that you're creating. We're going to go to Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data. And I'm just going to create a new course. So I'm going to find an available course, one that's higher in my course numbers. So let's go 400, and we're going to call this a psych course. So in high school, it's called psychology. It's a yearly semester course, but the alternative course name is going to be Intro to Psychology. So this is the title that the college gives this course. This is the title that it's identified in JMC. So save my information up top. I'll just add a couple sections actually. So we're going to offer this 5th period, both terms. Grab my teacher. Make this on the high school schedule. And now I'd get into my state-specific course tab. Excuse me, I'm going to enter the course code for the high school. And now my MCCC tab, depending on what type, and I always reference this. So even after this video is completed, come back to this to figure out how you want to label this course. So for example, we're going to define the course as part of an articulation agreement, let's just say. Or let's call this a dual concurrent enrollment class. So I'm going to select 1 from the record type. So it's 1, and then a D from the course level drop-down list. And you're going to notice the remaining fields have changed somewhat slightly. So is this a grad requirement? No, it's not required for graduation. And now I can select the college or university that is part of this articulation agreement. So let's go Lake Superior. I click Save, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so it's key things to note here: alternative course name, and then fill out the proper fields on the MCCC tab. And these remaining fields will change depending on the type of college course it is. So I always refer back to this PDF that's linked in the description here. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you deal with a lot of college courses to maybe even print out these 3 slides. Now we get to assigning college course grades. Awarding credit for articulation agreement, dual concurrent enrollment, or PSEO courses is simple with JMC. Once students have completed their articulation agreement, dual concurrent enrollment, or PSEO course, enter the results in JMC to paint the full picture of student academic progress, including college grades and credits and high school credits toward graduation on official high school transcripts. To add college credits and a grade to an articulation agreement, dual concurrent enrollment, or PSEO course, head to Schedules, Student, Edit Schedules in JMC Office. Step 1, enter a student's name in the Find field to begin adding college credit for the selected student. Step 2, click the Student Section Details and Overrides link in the Quick Links section to view college course details. Step 3, click the Edit link next to a course to add a college grade or credit to that course. Step 4, enter a grade in the college grade earned field to associate a college grade with the student record. Step 5, enter the number of credits in the college credit earned field to associate college credit with the student record. Step 6, click the Update link to save your changes, or click the Cancel link to discard them. So let's take a live look at assigning college course grades. So the course that I just created, course number 400, Psychology, I'm going to go to Schedules, Student, Edit Schedules. I'm going to find, in this case, a senior that's taking my course here. And let's just add course number 400 to the student's schedule. Add it for both semesters. Save. And now that this course is on the student schedule, I'm going to go over here to the student section details and overrides quick link. So over here on the right hand side, it's all the way to the bottom, student section details and overrides. And this is going to pull up some details of the existing courses that are on the student schedule. So here's my psychology semester 1. After this course is finished, so I've got a couple different options here. The credits earned override versus the credits attempted override. These are the high school credits that would be associated with the course. So you might use this, oh, it looks like I didn't assign a credit value to this course, but no matter, let's say this course was worth a full credit toward graduation. If I had a student that left after the first quarter and I wanted to give them partial credit, instead of giving them one full credit for the term, I'll give them 0.5 credits. That's overriding the credit that they that was originally associated with the course. Since we're talking college grades and college credits, I'm going to enter those in these fields right here. So the student earned a B+ for college and earned 1.5 credits toward college graduation. I'm going to enter those there and click the update link. And now I've associated a college grade and a college credit earned with that course. It's separate from the high school grade earned. It's separate from the high school credits attempted and earned. So they're two completely separate records in terms of JMC. So if the student earned an A at the high school level, but that was considered a B, I'm sorry, I should select the proper course. I'm going to save here. Student section details and overrides. There isn't even a grade listed on here for a high school override grade. The high school override grade would just be done right on this page right here. So simple as that, entering a college grade for a course. And now with all of our data entered correctly, we can begin submitting EdFi data. That begins with enabling EdFi settings. So allowing MCCC data to flow directly from JMC to the state is as simple as placing a check mark in a checkbox. Once MCCC reporting via EdFi is enabled, your district's course section, student, and grading data can be reported during regular EdFi data syncing. Avoid the tedious task of downloading files and uploading them to a state database by enabling MCCC reporting via EdFi in JMC. In JMC Office, head to File Administrator Options to enable MCCC reporting via EdFi for your building. Step 1, click the EdFi Settings link in the EdFi Settings box to access the MCCC EdFi data collection checkbox. Step 2, place a check mark in the Enable MCCC EdFi Data Collection checkbox to enable MCCC reporting via EdFi. Step 3, click the Save button to update your EdFi settings. It's as simple as that. Let's take a live look at enabling those EdFi settings. I'm going to go to File Administrator Options. I'm going to click the EdFi Settings link. And you'll notice I've already enabled MCCC via data collection here. I'm going to show you a common item that comes up. I'm going to go to Minnesota EdFi Start Year. And you'll notice on the Prep tab, and we're getting more into detail with these steps in just a minute, but if I go to Minnesota EdFi Start Year, I've got all of these checkboxes available on the Prep tab. So there's these first 4, and then there's a little bit of a break, and then there are additional Prep tab elements here. If I go back to my File Administrator Options EdFi Settings page and I disable MCCC reporting via EdFi, I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to my Minnesota EdFi Start Year page, and you'll notice all of those options are now gone. So if you get to the point of submitting data and you'll note and you notice, hey, I only have 4 check boxes and all of these tables tabs and the general tabs, I'm unable to push any of the buttons and do anything, you're going to need to first go to Administrator Options, EdFi Settings, and enable MCCC via EdFi, save, and then those options will be available on the Start Year page. So now they're available. So that's your first step. Once EdFi settings are enabled, you can head to that EdFi Start Year page, and submitting EdFi data is relatively simple. You work left to right, top to bottom, starting with the Start Year tab. So completing the Start Year tab in JMC Office is a crucial step in submitting your school's data to EdFi at the beginning of the school year, or in this case, towards the middle end of school year, whenever your reporting deadlines are nearing. I think the intent would be for the state to get these closer to the start of the school year, but as this is relatively new, some of these dates are in flux right now. So this state reporting milestone guides you through the process, ensuring successful data submission to the state through the EdFi portal. By completing the checklist on the Prep tab, updating code tables, uploading school data, and addressing any errors, you can prepare your state for EdFi submissions. JMC Office, go to Minnesota EdFi Start Year to confirm that you've completed the necessary tasks to prepare your data for EdFi submission. Step 1, click the Prep tab to access the checklist of items that are to be completed before the start of the school year. Step 2, place a check mark in the appropriate checkboxes to indicate that you have completed the listed item. Step 3, click the Tables tab to access the list of tables that require updating from MDE at the start of the school year. Step 4, click the first enabled button on the Tables tab to update your JMC database from the corresponding MDE code table for the start of the school year. Step 5, click the General tab to access a list of MDE data submission elements related to your general school data. Step 6, click the first enabled button on the General tab to begin uploading school data to the MDE. Step 7, fix any errors displayed on the Start Year Summary report, and repeat steps 7 and 8 until all school data is successfully updated in EdFi. Helpful tip, click the Print Summary button to print the summary for reference while fixing data errors, or click the Cancel Summary button to return to the General tab and continue the Start Year process. Step 8, click the Students tab to view instructions for submitting student data to the MDE. Helpful tip for additional support, send your error summaries to support@jmcinc.com for help diagnosing and fixing errors. So let's take a live look at the EdFi Start Year page. I'm going to kind of talk through this process here and explain to you exactly what's happening. So this is under Minnesota EdFi Start Year. And as I mentioned before, you're going to begin at the Prep tab. So you're going to go left to right, top to bottom. And it's important that you address each of these items in order, as there are a specific order of operations that you need to follow in order to get your data submitted correctly. The first thing that you do is confirming all of these elements have been taken care of. And now we just went through all of the data elements that need to be added in JMC, all of the little things that you need to do to prepare your data. And really what state reporting is you collecting quality data and submitting it to the state in a format that the state can read. And if the state can't read it for whatever reason because the data isn't of sufficient quality, we're going to alert you to some of those to errors. So the data quality errors are what you're looking for in this process. If you have not completed a step correctly, or if you have some inappropriate data listed someplace in your system, we're going to alert you to that so you can go back and fix that data and resubmit so that the state has it in a format that they can use. So starting with the prep tab, many of these items have probably been taken care of as a course of regular business in your school. So registering new students, for example, all of these first 4 items needed to be taken care of for you to be able to submit MARS data. So student lunch statuses, making sure all students are reportable to the state and have state IDs. These are things that need to be taken care of. And entering your calendar days, the first day of school, the last day of school, excluding holiday breaks, parent-teacher conferences, half days, that sort of stuff. So read the text on the page. This is going to explain what each of these items mean. And in some cases, if you try to check a box that hasn't been taken care of yet, you're going to get notified by us to say, hey, actually you have to go to attendance calendar days, and then you'll be able to add that check mark there. So each of these items, for instance, the ones that we were just talking about, the bell schedules, for each school in the district, configure a bell schedule. Have we taken care of that? Yeah, we just did it. Class periods for your bell schedule. Have we taken care of it? Yep. All right, good. Mass assigned course and section data. We need to assign a bell schedule to all course sections in JMC. So once we've done that, place a check mark there. Do all course sections have teachers and periods assigned for every building? If I've done that, and that should be probably part of the scheduling process, I'll place a check mark there. Have I imported course data? You have to import course data before you can do any of the remaining steps on here. And do all teachers have file folder numbers? So this is kind of the check and balance against some of those things that would prevent quality data from being submitted. So after I've worked through all of those items, top to bottom, I'm going to move on to the Tables tab. And what the Tables tab is doing is it's actually bringing in data from the state into your system, like course codes and things that are available. So EdFi is actually kind of a two-way street. It allows you to speak to the state directly through JMC via that EdFi portal, and also the state can push things to your school. They don't do it automatically. You would update it from EdFi, and that information will get into your school. So for example, if you're on that the edit course data page and you're looking for a course code and the course codes aren't there, you might have to update information from the state to bring in those course codes into your site. So it's very simple, working top to bottom. We just click a button and update our schools table. And as long as we have a proper connection, we shouldn't have any issues with this, and this date will be time-stamped afterwards to let us know when this most recently has been done. So if you're experiencing errors and you can't figure out why these errors are occurring, if you take a look at your timestamps that are listed here, these should go in relative chronological order. And if they do, then you know that your tables have been updated. They've been updated all at the same time, and you're ready to advance to the next step. This might take a moment as we're pulling down some data from the state. Hopefully this doesn't air out because we're in a testing environment here. So I'm going to give it another moment or two, and then I'll just refresh the page and I can show you what general tab items are available as well. The more data it brings in and the more data you send, the longer this is going to take. So if your school is bigger, it might take a little bit longer. And here, this is just a summary report of the information that has been brought into your school. And I can see since the last time that I pulled in, it's pulling in some school data for me. So there might have been some additional school elements that the state added, some building numbers and things like that. So I can cancel that summary because there's nothing really I need to do with that. There's no need for any changes. You can see my timestamp has been updated. So I'm just going to go through and continue this process. That took much less time. I'm going update all post-secondary institutions. That's bringing colleges and college information in. Update all courses is going to bring course codes in. This might take a little bit longer. So brought in any course codes that I didn't have previously uploaded. Bring in all language possibilities. Looks like there were a couple language codes that had been added by the state since I last updated. And then I'll bring in all descriptors here. And when this process is complete, I will move on to the general tab. So left to right, top to bottom, and we're doing this in order. So prep tab items get taken care of first, then we can move on to the next, and that's why we include the timestamps there. So everything has been uploaded from the MDE. Now it's time to push information to the MDE. So now I need to send my calendar resources to the Department of Ed. So I click that update calendar for all buildings. And now this is where you need to pay attention to some quality errors, and we try to give you the heads up on what those errors are. And we list these in blue text, and I can scroll quickly down here and probably find what these errors are. And actually we do a pretty good job of explaining to you what needs to be fixed and where you would go about fixing those in JMC. So looks like I have a calendar error. School ID, access to the resource item could not be authorized because the school ID of the resource is empty. So school ID of grade level 3 is empty. I can see I have a school ID of 0. So for this, I might go to that Mars edit school data page and make sure my grade 3 has a school ID here into this. And this area, it absolutely does. So I'm gonna make sure that my calendar is set. You can go to attendance calendar days because it was a calendar item. I'm gonna look at probably grade 3 because that was my issue. And then let's make sure we have a start date and a last day of school. And most likely, you know, this is because I'm in a testing environment, so it's not gonna let me send data without actually having a school number associated with it. So it looks like this is set up properly for me. I've got my term dates. I've got my start date and end date for the school year. So what I would do is, after I had fixed that error, you know, that error needed my attention, I fixed that error, I would go back and I would run the process again. So I'd go back to start year, and let's just say I did fix something. I would update my calendar again, and I would do that until the error was fixed. And this is where, if I don't understand what the error message is telling me, or if I've tried it and it's still not working for whatever reason, contact support at jmcinc.com. Give us the actual PDF. So I'm going to do this again because I'm going to receive the same error report. I'll go to print summary, and this is going to allow me to save a PDF version of this error. I'm going to save this error as a PDF and then include it in my email that I send to support. And we can help you resolve these errors. So work my way down through, and then I'll click the Students tab, and this is going to tell me to update students by grade level to submit my grades. So we're going to talk about submitting student data here next, but that's where it all starts, is on the Minnesota EdFi Start Year page, left to right, top to bottom. Working with course data submissions via EdFi. Submitting start year data for EdFi takes care of the majority of students, course, and general school data. However, if you have added a course to your database after the start year submission, you'll need to update course data to ensure it's available for EdFi reporting. After you've added the course on the Edit Course Data page, simply update the individual course in EdFi with just a few clicks. So, to kind of take you through exactly when you would use this process or when you would go through this process. The start year process is going to get you through most of your submissions. But let's say you've submitted your data, and this may be a next year sort of thing, or maybe it's in the current year and you received one error on one course submission. Rather than resubmitting all of your courses and taking all of the time to send that information, you can just send one course at a time after you fix the error that was associated with that one course. So this is more of a troubleshooting tool. It also might be used down the road if you're making multiple EdFi submissions or MCCC submissions, which very well could happen in 25, 26, where you submit start year data, and then you might have to update those course data submissions later on throughout the year. In any event, in JMC Office, head to Minnesota EdFi Update Course to report your newly created course to MCCC via EdFi. Select the appropriate building from the building drop-down list. Step 2, select a course from the Find field. Helpful tip, enter the course name or number in the Find field to easily search for a course in your JMC database. Step 3, click the Update Course button to complete the process of updating the course in EdFi for MCCC, and it's the same thing, fix any errors, and then come back and resubmit course data. So if you're continually getting an error over the same course, you might have to go back and you might have to update a course code, for example. Oh, I forgot to add course codes to these 3 courses. Rather than submitting all of your data again on the start year page, you can just come back here and submit one course at a time. Helpful tip, update course data and fix EdFi reporting errors throughout the school year for new and existing courses to avoid getting bogged down as state reporting deadlines approach. So like all state reporting, it's much easier to keep up with it along the way rather than letting it all bundle up and being in that time crunch toward the end. I know easier said than done, but with this data submission tool and the update course data tool, it's easy to kind of take care of that stuff as you add new courses. In a similar regard, you can remove course data from EdFi, and particularly if you have bad course data in the EdFi portal and your submissions just aren't going through. Mistakes happen, which is why JMC's created the ability to delete a course from the EdFi portal if it was accidentally submitted for MCCC reporting, and if the update course feature has not removed it already. So in a lot of cases, the update course feature is going to remove aired out data. But you're dealing with a data exchange, so data could potentially become trapped in that the portal, the ODS as it's called, through the EdFi portal. So you can go into the EdFi portal and actually delete it through JMC. So with just a few clicks, you're able to delete a course from the EdFi portal even after it has been submitted to MCCC, and then you can remove those errors and resubmit the course as needed. So we're going to go to Minnesota EdFi Delete Course to remove a course from the EdFi portal. Step 1, you'll select the appropriate building from the building drop-down list to access your available courses. Step 2, you'll select a course from the Find drop-down list to delete an individual course from the EdFi portal. Helpful tip, enter the course name or number in the Find field to search for a course in your database. Step 3, click the Minnesota EdFi Delete Course button to complete the process of deleting the course from EdFi for MCCC reporting. So the major note to make here is this does not delete the course from your site. This deletes the course from the EdFi portal after you'd already sent it. So if you've sent it to EdFi, you're getting errors via that EdFi portal that you're looking at, and you're like, this course doesn't even exist in our school anymore. This course shouldn't be here. Or, oops, I made a mistake. I want to start over again submitting data for this course. You can go in, you can delete that course from EdFi, and then you can re-push quality data into the EdFi portal. So submitting grade level data. This is for submitting students. By far and away, the easiest way to submit student data would be to update students by grade level. So ensure accurate state reporting by updating student data through the Update Students by Grade Level tool in JMC Office for seamless submission via Minnesota EdFi. Simply select the grade level, submit the associated records, and fix any errors indicated in the summary for a smooth data update process. So we're going to head to Minnesota EdFi, Update Students by Grade Level, to select a grade level and submit student data to the MDE. Step 1, select a grade level from the grade drop-down list to narrow the range of students submitted. Step 2, click the Minnesota EdFi Update Student by Grade Level button to send student data to the MDE for the selected grade level. And we would recommend doing this one grade at a time. Step 3, fix any errors displayed on the Update Students by Grade Level summary. Repeat steps 1 and 2 until all data has been successfully updated, and then continue on for each grade level. So print that summary as needed, so you can go back and fix those student errors. Repeat steps 1 through 3 until each grade level is submitted. And if you have any questions about any errors that you're receiving through JMC, reach out to support@jmcinc.com and we can help you diagnose those. If your school has more than 100 students, submit data one grade level at a time to avoid network timeouts that could disrupt the submission process. Also, more than 100 students, you're going to have a hard time kind of weeding through some of those reports and identifying those errors. So it's just a best practice to go one grade at a time, small chunks of data that are being shared at one time, and that will help you speed up the process, avoid those network timeouts that make you start over from scratch. If you're getting errors that are runtime errors that are associated with network timeouts, that very well could be why. In a similar method to updating course data, you can update individual student data as well. So typically you would update students by grade level, but if you have individual students that are airing out on you and you need to update individual students, this helps streamline that process. So in JMC Office, when student information changes, you can quickly resolve state reporting errors by sending targeted data updates to Minnesota EdFi using the Update Students feature. This feature allows you to save time and effort by updating only the specific student records that include changes, ensuring accurate and up-to-date data submissions without the need to update all student records at once. Log into JMC Office, head to Minnesota EdFi Update Student to submit data for a specific student. Enter the student's name in the Minnesota EdFi Update Student drop-down list and select a student to submit EdFi data for that individual student. Fun fact, the student's name, state ID, grade level, JMC student ID, and the student reference number are displayed to ensure you've selected the correct student. Step 2, click the Minnesota EdFi Update Student button to submit EdFi data for the selected student. Fix any errors that are displayed on that student summary report, and repeat steps 1 and 2 until all data is successfully updated in EdFi. Helpful tip, click the Print Summary button to print that summary for reference while fixing data errors, or click that Cancel Summary button to return to the Update Student page. Repeat this process for additional students who need EdFi data submitted, and again, for any additional support for errors that you're unable to interpret, please email support@jmcinc.com and include that PDF in your email. This concludes the EdFi, MCCC EdFi submission process, the data collection process. I invite you to join us for our EdFi work sessions. We're going to host these once a month, probably until next year. So if you have any questions, please bring those. We learn from each other. It's a great way to ask your questions and resolve those. You can always reach out to training@jmcinc.com too with any questions, and we can help you with your EdFi submissions. So thanks for joining us and have a great day.